Yo, we got a video here today and we're looking at cheating, stepping out of bounds, going to different restaurants, so to speak. And let's have a little peek into some of the reasons, excuses why it may happen. Let's get right into it.
We divorced our spouses and we ended up marrying each other. So everything was great. He made me so happy.
That's already ironically a bit of a red flag. He made me happy, because I think no one can make someone happy. The way you make yourself happy, happiness is a byproduct of achievement, a byproduct of accomplishment. So people that are unhappy, they need to get into their mirror, set some goals, set their alarm clock, and then tell me a few months from now.
The relationship that I was in, my first marriage, was so toxic. I didn't know how to be happy anymore, and when I found myself laughing, it almost felt scary because I had been so upset for so long in just a toxic relationship that
I only kind of chuckle sometimes because when you talk to some people post breakup, that seems to be it just became toxic. Why? Why did it become toxic? Because the other myth is when it comes to a relationship, especially marriage, guys do it hoping things will stay the same, whereas the ladies do it on potential. They hope it's going to improve, and both parties become disappointed.
It was unfamiliar to me to be happy. So we enjoyed our marriage. We had a great marriage. We started having kids. Well, I had a son previous, so we had him. And it was just him and my husband and I for 2 years, and then we started having other children. And just like with anything, your marriage gets put on the back burner. He started working a lot. He went through some things himself. He had hobbies. We had all this stuff going on.
I mean, God forbid, right? Working a lot, putting in hours down at the sand mines, down in the coal dunes. Putting food on the table, making sure there's a roof, making sure the mortgage is paid.
And I found myself starting to get really lonely and starting to have some familiar feelings that I had in my first marriage, where I felt alone, I didn't feel heard, I felt like I was being controlled, I didn't like the way the marriage was going, things were just...
I mean, now we're bringing in the second dynamic, which is control. But quickly, going back to the first is basically you're the entertainer. That's where the term jestering comes along. Jester max. Make sure you pay for the drinks. Make sure you pull out the chair, open the door. It's like you're constantly dating them. And unfortunately, once people get complacent in long-term relationships, they start putting on the sweatpants.
It just seemed like we had become roommates. He would come home from work, do his thing. I was doing my thing. We wasn't really connecting. We didn't have date nights. We didn't have time where we would sit and talk together. We didn't do any of those things. We just...
That's the sacrifice, guys. Make sure you're constantly doing date nights and sitting and talking together, having a connection, all the things that might trigger. It's not necessarily about just laying the pipe. I mean, that's what the guys want to sometimes get down to, is they just want to lay some pipe and do it that way. But you've got to do it. You've got to lay pipe on their mind. You've got to mentally lay some pipe.
We just basically lived separate lives, but in one house. And he really wasn't involved with the kids. He wasn't a hands-on dad. He didn't like to do outings with them or anything. I was mainly the one who would take them, to the movies or to the zoo or the fair or whatever. It was me and my friend, and she had her kids. So that was basically, became my life, and I grew very uncomfortable with it over time. And
hypothetically, why is that a bad scenario that you, with your kids that you've also got from another relationship anyway, go out with someone else and their kids? Why is that not kind of quote unquote good enough socially? You've got to make sure you drag them along, because they talk about the trophy wife, but sometimes there's the trophy husband of like, look at this person. He's X amount of height or tall, and he's rich and famous, or whatever the clout may be.
And, I had started asking him, I said, okay, well, I want to have another baby. And he was saying, no, I don't want to have any more kids. And it wasn't really a discussion. It was more of, control and just, I make the rules. We were Christians, so we had a little bit distorted view of what submitting to your husband looked like.
Let's really go into that. We'll look at the term submission. Is that viewed great among non-Christians, among atheists? Do they love to submit to their husband? I don't think so. Submission, regardless of ideologies, is viewed as a controlling. That's how it is. It's not like... I look at submission the same way as I look at respect. Respect is earned. You earn someone's respect. And to some degree, you earn someone's submission. They're not just going to submit just because. You've got to do something to earn it.
And I felt like I was just being controlled, and he felt like he was the boss, and we weren't equal partners, and it just wasn't working out. Well, during that time...
That sounds right in Christianity, equal partners. It's not the God, the head of the household, and then the husband who does it through God down to the wife and the children. There isn't a hierarchy within Christianity. See, they love this smorgasbord of, I'm going to use Christianity, but I'm also going to use my California liberal education and say we're all equal in this marriage.
This was about 10 years into the marriage, maybe 8 or in between 8 and 10 years. I'm not 100% sure. But around that time, okay, so the guy that I had an affair with, I'm not going to give a lot of details. I'll just say he was in the medical profession, and he had been in our lives for about 2 years. So I knew him. I was familiar with him. Nothing had ever crossed the line. There was no flirting, no nothing for 2 years. And then when I turned 37, this was when the affair started, when I turned 37. So I just want to be clear. I want everybody to understand.
Well, there we go. So we've got 37, and we're also in that danger zone of post 7 years, the scratch the itch zone of like, do I continue this relationship, or is it time to move on to a new career, to a new job?
And that my first one was in my early 20s, and my second one was when I was 37. So when I was 37, around February, I went for an appointment. And I noticed that he had become a little bit friendly, something was just off. It was just a little out of the ordinary. I didn't pay attention to it. I think I was a little naive, and
That's always a good excuse, almost an overused excuse. I didn't even know. I was naive. The fact that you know that you were naive means that you knew something was up. We know what's up. Come on, let's just cut the crap.
Kind of blew it off. I said, I really don't think he's flirting with me. Why would he do that? That type of thing. So I blew it off, but I remember thinking, I like...
Guys might flirt because they think, hey, this one might give it up. This one might give me some action tonight.
Him, he's friendly. He reminds me of home, like the boy next door. We didn't grow up that far apart from each other. But anyways, so each visit, things got a little bit more friendly. You
escalate the situation, and you're in control of that. I mean, you keep going back, and you could have kept it the same way. But that's the thing. Are you naive to say that you had an orbiter there? And just in case you wanted to act, what about if you wanted to get a bit frisky tonight? I mean, I guess the ball's in your court.
He became more flirty is what it was, and more interested in what was going on with me. Well, by that time, I was starting to pick up on it a little bit more, and it was starting to make me a little bit nervous in that I was liking the attention, but I was still resistant to the attention because I knew it wasn't right, and I didn't want to go in that direction, which I never really thought it.
Well, there's the second part, but ultimately it always comes down to the first part. You enjoy the attention, good or bad, but hopefully good. And then as long as you're in control of the situation, but then you can enjoy it even more on your end. Always saying that you're naive. I didn't know it was going to go this way. It was him flirting. I wasn't flirting.
would go into the direction of, hey, we're gonna have an affair. I just thought, oh my gosh, it's, okay, at the worst, it's just gonna be some simple flirting, harmless, nothing to it. Guys flirt all the time, it's no big deal, that type of.
What is that excuse? Why did that need to bring in? Guys do it all the time. You commit certain crimes. Well, this group does it all the time, so I guess let's have more of it.
So I kept that in my mind each time I would go, and I kept myself, okay, you know what, you're not gonna flirt with him, you're gonna go and you're gonna be professional, you're gonna.
She had a smile on her face just then, reminiscing about it. She knows exactly that, she enjoyed every part of it. Don't kid yourself.
Like a patient, and each time I would go, it got a little bit harder for me not to let him know that I was attracted to him and that I had picked up on his, flirtatious remarks or his advances. So I kept resisting, and then my breaking.
You kept resisting, but you had an orbiter, and you even told the orbiter that, hey, I'm actually interested in you. I'm not going to do anything. We're not going to do anything about it, but just if you wanted to know, I'm keen as well.
My husband is going to be here in this house with me, but I'm going to have to do life alone, because he doesn't want to do anything with me or with the kids. So I had enough. At that point in my mind, I was done. I'm like, this is it for me. I can't do this anymore.
Hit that like button on the way out, please. That was a very key point there. In my mind. Therefore, it's okay. I don't have to vocalize and say, hey, this is over. I'm done. I'm done with your lack of activity and you just want to sit around and work. You want to do overtime in the weekend and then go play golf with your friends on Sunday. I'm done. They say that to themselves in their head, in their mind.
More. If he wants to live alone, it seems like he truly wanted to be single, then he needs to be single. But I never told him any of these things. It was just stuff that I was telling myself. It was just the way I believed it. That's how I saw it. So anyways, when we got back home and
anyone can use that kind of mentality and be like, I'm going to be selfish because that's the way I thought it. Her, him, whatever. Anybody, any person can just rationalize it to themselves.
Had another appointment. I made sure that he knew I was interested in him. And once that period, that time, that crossed the line, once I crossed the line, that was it. It opened up a whole new door.
That was it. Game time. We went from the worst it can be is this innocent flirting that I'm already doing. She's saying that's the worst it can be at the beginning. That's, oh yeah, okay.
We began texting each other, maybe like once or twice a week. Then we started talking to each other on the phone. We started meeting in casual places. Then we met at his office. Then we met at a hotel. And then it just spiraled out of control. It became a full-blown.
I like that one. It goes from we met at the office. You were patients there anyway, but I'm assuming maybe you just hooked up at the office and then it's like hotel. We're going from office to let's go to the penthouse tonight.
Affair, and I thought this guy was my soulmate. I was like, oh my God, he gets me. And the thing with him is he liked me for me. So I could be me, I could say crazy things, I could be silly, I could be whatever I want, whoever I am.
Or he put up with that just because he wanted to get a piece of it. He wanted to break him off a slice.
And he liked it and he was fine with it, and we had this extremely strong connection, and I had convinced myself that I never felt this way about anybody before, and I couldn't get past this connection that we had. It was amazing.
I think in general you kind of should have connection and love, but I feel like it's a word that's overused. They say soulmate. This was my soulmate. It's almost excusing doing bad behavior because now you're saying, well, it's my soulmate. I was in love. It's not just, a fling. Because if you say what it actually is, it sounds bad, especially if you're already married.
Amazing, and I loved it. And I didn't want to give it up. He had become my best friend, and we shared, I lost a loved one, he lost a loved one, we were there for each other. So we just bonded over a bunch of different things. The affair lasted almost a year. My husband found out midway of the affair, and we started going to therapy. I really didn't want to go to therapy, but we
That's interesting. You actually dropped that. Is that hypothetically this affair lasted 12 months and he knew about it after 6 months and you went into counseling. So during the counseling, the affair didn't stop. Even when he found out the affair didn't stop, you still basically got another 6 months out of it.
Started going to therapy, and she suggested that we separate. So we did an in-house separation where he stayed in another room and I, stayed in our bedroom. And during that separation time, I needed to decide what I wanted to do. Did I want to stay with my husband? Did I want to go with my affair partner? And I will tell you, I had tried to end the affair because at one point while we had the separation, I was thinking,
what does that mean? I had tried to end it. Why you can't go black and white on that? It's the idea of, do I get rid of this orbiter? This is their form of spinning plates. They talk how guys spin plates. They have a bunch of matches and phone numbers and all that. They've got the orbiters. They've got friends that they flirt and whatever, but they're just able to say, hey, let's party, and they can get it.
oh my God, if I was single, I would not date this guy. Like, he is so wrong for me. Like, there were tons of red flags, and he just wasn't the person for me, but I felt stuck to him, like addicted, like I could not leave. So I tried to end.
I mean, the red flags, he was a piece of crap, tatted up, was just beating me around, blah, blah, blah. But man, I just couldn't leave. I was addicted. I was stuck to it. I mean, are we supposed to actually? Where is it? They love it. They love the roller coaster, the ups and the downs, the mundane, boring 9 to 5. They don't like that.
I did several times. I failed completely. And all in that time, I'm trying to decide, do I leave? Do I stay? Do I go? Like, what's going on? And I'm still a Christian, I'm not praying. I'm not going to church. I'm starting to get angry.
You're pissing all over your marital vows. I get it. But these are all used as excuses to just keep it going on. It's like, I had to decide, but I was going back and forth. These are just excuses to say, I didn't want to give it up. It's as easy as you just get rid of one relationship and go into a new one. But she said it. There was all these red flags, but she enjoyed the security of the house, the guy that was working hard, right? Working hard and doing his hobbies, but she needed to get that itch scratched. She needed it on the side. But anyway, gents, we're going to leave it right there. As always, thoughts, comments, but low. And hit that like on the way out. It takes 1.5 seconds and straight up. Like, it's time to smash it. Crush that button right now. And we'll see you on the next one. Peace out.